Hi, I'm Annika Johnson from Al Johnson's in Sister Bay. I hope you enjoy my new video series called Door County Girl. These are stories of my life, the people and places that I love, and of course how we all survive here in northern Wisconsin. You can come back as often as you like, but don't forget to subscribe to Al's YouTube channel. I'll be posting lots of really cool new videos. So let's go. Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Door County Girl. Today we're up at Shepherd of the Bay Lutheran Church up on the Ellison Bay Hill, and we're here with Allyson Fleck, who is in charge of the Midsummer music program. And this will be a lot for me to learn because I don't know anything about it except for I hear about it and see it all the time and everything. And she got me a very cool CD, which I can't wait to play. So Allyson, I want you to sort of start at the beginning and kind of tell me about yourself, and then just kind of say, how'd you get here? How'd you get the job? You know, and I'll jump in. So
that's awesome. Thank you so very much. I'm really excited to share with you about Midsummer's music. So a little bit about Midsummer's. It's our 34th season this summer. And it started off as a concert among friends and home concerts. Chamber music, for maybe people who don't know, is when you say this is music for 2 to 9 players. You could do more, but you know that's roughly the amount of people who are playing one on a part, no conductor. Jazz could be chamber music, but the kind of style that Midsummer started with anyway is classical, and we have branched out since then. So 34 years ago they started with some home concerts playing chamber music, and everything went so well that they came back for a second concert. They like to say that first year not very many people on the peninsula knew what was going on, but by the time they got to their second, third, and fourth year, people started following. So we went from a few concerts back in the early 90s, and now we're up to over 40 concerts in the summer. And in 2018, we added a string quartet residency. So now we are full-time all year long. And that full-time quartet is called the Griffon String Quartet. The CD that you have there with Eric, that's their first CD. For me, how did I get involved? I started playing as a violist with the summer season around 2005, and I would come up for a couple weeks, and I thought Door County was heaven. I just loved Door County, and I was getting to play great music with great musicians, and so everything was just always looking forward to the summer. Year after year, I just kept waiting for the summer to come around so I could come back to Midsummer's and
Where did you stay when you would come up here?
Well, we do home stays, so our musicians are hosted by home stays, and if anybody who's watching this is interested in sponsoring a musician, we're so grateful to have those home stays.
Well, that would be awesome.
So I was on the Lake Michigan side near Bailey's Harbor, and I got to know the family who sponsored me, and it was just such a beautiful thing. So I played viola, I still play, and as I was working through careers in other places, the position for executive director came up in 2018, and this was the same year that the Midsummer's music family wanted to start a string quartet residency, which I had some experience managing. So we kind of put our heads together, and it seemed like the right fit for me. So I moved to Door County. I've been here ever since, and it is still heaven to me.
Oh, that's so amazing.
Yeah.
Where are you from originally?
All over.
All over.
All over. So Georgia is really my home state.
Okay.
I did school in Madison, Wisconsin.
Okay.
We lived as a family, South Carolina, Pennsylvania, Texas.
Oh, you were everywhere.
Yeah.
And you picked Door County for your home. I love it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
My parents met at Ripon College when they were, students, and they have a place at Green Lake. So we used to spend our summers in Wisconsin. So
Green Lake's pretty.
Isn't that gorgeous?
They always have storms. I always notice that every time there's a storm warning, Green Lake, it's Green Lake.
Fortunately, I've not been there when they're having storms, so that's good. But, you know, the idea was I was very much a fan of Wisconsin, so to start coming to Door County seemed like a natural fit.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so then before you got this job,
Yeah.
what did you do? You were telling me some pretty interesting things about you being...
I'm a violist, yeah.
Yes. And I asked her questions about fiddle versus violin versus viola. Do you have to learn how to play the fiddle before you have violin before you play the fiddle, and vice versa? You have to learn how to play the violin before the viola? And she said, no, you just pick your instrument and you can learn to play.
Yeah.
And then you traveled for a while. That's what I found really interesting.
Yeah, so I started off in a young person's program, and Griffon String Quartet does teach young people kind of in the same program I learned. And so I was a young person, and I started with violin. And I loved playing music, and my family was very supportive. And so when it came time to pick your major in college, it really did seem like the natural fit, so I did that. I went so far as to get a doctorate in viola performance. That's back at Madison. But in between, I played for lots of orchestras, played lots of chamber music, and I do enjoy trying to be a jazz violist. I really haven't succeeded yet, but you know, we can all be lifelong learners, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And as far as fiddling and pop music goes, I mean, I just love to try all kinds of music, and so I've been in some really fun situations. I've played with Rod Stewart, Earth, Wind and Fire. I've played with opera orchestras, ballet orchestras. I've traveled to...
I just had to touch you.
Oh, it was so fun. You know, they're so, you know, just great people. They're just doing their craft, and, you know, you get the call and you're like, wow,
I know, I asked her, how did you get to be able to play for them? And then explain that.
Yeah, well, so, you know, if you're in your town and you're doing your thing, and surely I was, you know, playing with these orchestras and playing with my chamber groups. I taught lessons, lots of friends, but some of my friends were managers, and managers get calls all the time. Mannheim Steamroller, another one, you know, just like really fun opportunities to play with great talent. And lots of times you're just there for one day. You know, a lot of people ask about shows like that, and really you just come in, you just read the charts, and then you...
Explain that.
Yeah.
You just go in, they give you the music, and you already know how to play the music, so you just play the music they give you, right?
That's right. So they put it in front of you, and then a couple hours later it's curtain time, and there you are.
That's crazy, yeah.
You're playing the show. So.
Okay, well, talk a little bit more then about your Midsummer program. I'm a newbie. I don't think I can say that I've been to one, but I always am working. So, but now that you have them year round, that's even a better thing for some of us that can't do things in the summer or the fall. Right. So talk a little bit about that. Where do you play? Is it always here? Do you go out and about?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, how do we get tickets? I mean, what do you expect for?
So most of our concerts from September through May are what we call free will offering. We love Door County, we love our community. We want to make music accessible. We like to use the word demystify. A lot of people are newbies when they come, and they're not really sure what they're getting themselves into, so we like to welcome everyone, and because of that we do play in many spaces, again just trying to be accessible. But as far as like what should people expect, chamber music for us just means like that small ensemble, intimate. So a lot of people who go to concerts, you may find yourself, just because of the venue or the location, maybe far away from the performers, but at Midsummers we want everybody to have the best seat possible. So all of our concerts really are intimate. You can be right next to the musician, almost as close as you and I are right now. So you get to experience music up close and personal.
Almost like you're in their living room.
It's right, yes. And chamber music, I mean, the term comes from back in the day when people would, they would call their living room the chamber room. The Griffon String Quartet, that's a younger group. They're all young professionals, and they like to play a little bit more contemporary and crossover music. So again, that CD you're holding with Eric Lewis, that's a lot of bluegrass, folk, independent pop, just really interesting ways of cross-connecting music. If you're able to come to our summer concerts, a lot of that music is classical. However, our composer in residence, Will Healy, he is a jazz composer pianist, so he also brings in elements of improvisation into the music. So we really are branching out all ways in our music, but a lot of people who follow classical music, they may know Bach, Beethoven, Brahms. So we do always play that style, but then we expand it out to kind of let people know there's so much more to explore. Sure. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Where's the best place? Do you do outdoor concerts?
Unfortunately, because of our instruments.
Chamber. You do indoors.
Yeah, and it's really because of the instruments. They're so sensitive to humidity. Like, for example, we play a lot with piano. We're not going to be able to get the piano outside.
Well, this will be questions that people ask you. They'll say, "Will you play outside somewhere?" But no, they don't play outside. It's a chamber. It's chamber.
Yeah. Indoors music.
Now, if they wanted to look at your upcoming 2024 schedule, how do they jump on that and look at that?
This is so cool. We're talking right now because our brochures are out in the mail, but also our website, which is midsummersmusic.com, has all our programs on it.
Okay. Yeah. So can they just come, or do they have to pre-purchase tickets?
We like to know who's coming in advance, just because it helps us make sure that everybody has a seat. From time to time, we do have sellouts, so it's best to do your reservations. However, walk-ups are always welcome.
Okay. And then if they wanted to buy the tickets, it would be off of your website. You don't have like an office people can go to.
We do have an office. We are near the Piggly Wiggly in Sister Bay. There's a suite there. It's the Country Walk Lane.
Oh, you're up at the, so the Country Walk shop's up there. You're on the upper level?
We are down below.
Down below,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they'd be
most
welcome.
Most people know where that is, so.
Yeah,
okay. Well, how did you get interested in playing music in the first place? Like, what was your thing that said, I want to be playing the viola?
Well, my family had always listened to music. A couple of, family members had, participated either in ensemble or performance. But for me, it was when my mom took me to Suzuki. That's a method for kids, and that's one of the programs that we do with our Griffon String Quartet for kids. It's where kids learn by ear. You're talking a little bit about fiddle versus violin versus, I think a lot of early training, especially with fiddle, but with kids, it's great if they learn by ear. You're not getting bogged down by having to read music. And so my mom took me to this presentation of a group of kids, and I just watched that, and I just knew that I really wanted to do that. And then you get a great teacher, and you just never look back anymore. And supportive family and a lot of fun.
And then we talked about your viola. I found that very interesting. I used to read a little bit about guitars and cellos and the instruments that people play and how expensive they can be. I mean, I've only played the flute in the band, and we rented the flute. We didn't buy it, we just rented it. But I noticed that they're not cheap.
Yeah.
So,
well, let's say if you're younger and you're starting out, you can rent them. We even have loaner instruments. So there are really cheap instruments. The thing is they don't sound always as good,
right, but if they were just starting out, you would suggest don't go out and buy something.
Don't go out and buy
what
something.
What if they don't like it? But if someone like you were to buy an instrument?
I'll tell you, it costs more than my car. I mean, they're very expensive, and the instruments can be at times astronomical, but that's the maker and the history. Some of the musicians who play with Midsummers are playing on instruments from the 18th century. So really old instruments.
Yes, which you said,
yeah.
Some of the older ones play better. The more you play them, the better they sound.
They do,
and so buying something from 1990 versus today, it's used, it's already been played.
Yep.
It says you have a 1990.
Yeah, so my instrument I got when I was in college. It's 1999, French-Canadian makers Hero and Wilbeau. It's a beautiful instrument. It did a little tour, it won some prizes, and it was the right price for me as a student. But every time I get it appraised, it's gone up and up and up.
Oh,
you know, I've had it since almost 2000, and you got to take care of it, and the bow too, and I'm just so fortunate that my instrument's doing well. It sounds great.
So I have a funny question. How often do you have to replace the bow strings?
For me, that's about once or twice a year. If I were playing the kind of schedule I used to have, for sure it'd be twice, maybe even 3 times a year. Now my full-time job, I'm more, you know, in administration, less in playing. I still play. And different instruments have different requirements. So like a bass player could get away with once a year kind of thing. Yeah.
Do you do it yourself?
No, I take it to a bow specialist.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where's your bow specialist when you live in Door County?
Right. Well, we've got some friends in Green Bay, and then we've got friends in Milwaukee, Madison, Chicago. If you really need to, you can even ship it off to Miami and get it shipped back.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Now, when you play in the Midsummers with some of the people you play with, are they always the same group of people, or do you add a special person to it?
Yeah.
Or how do...
A little bit of both.
A little bit of both.
So we've got some players that have been with Midsummers for decades, and kind of like when I started playing, I just couldn't think of anything else I wanted to do with my summer. I'm so glad these amazing musicians want to keep coming back year after year to play with us, and our audience knows them. We have, I meant to tell you, receptions almost after every concert, and that's so you can meet the musicians and get to know them at the performance. So these musicians come back year after year, but life changes, and sometimes somebody's moved on, or their kids are older, or for whatever reason, so then we do start bringing in new people. You know, we welcome great players who just want to play really good music in a beautiful place, and have a great time doing it.
Yeah. Now, how do you pick? Like, how many people do you pick?
Oh, sure.
And then how do you pick?
Yep, and each concert will be different. So some concerts might feature 3 musicians. Some concerts we may be up to 8 or 9 people. And that's all done by our founder, Jim Birkenstock. He's our artistic director. So he puts together the whole summer season. And then we work with that planning, and then we get the musicians to fit those parts.
Okay. And then your job, what do you do for your job?
Yes, as executive director, I have to make sure everything happens on time and in the right way. So all those venues, we play from Washington Island all the way to Green Bay, sometimes even beyond. So if we're ever going to be in a venue, getting those tickets ready, I have support in the office. You know, a shout out to Max and a shout out to Julie and Russ, who helped me so much. So together as a team, we put together the whole year's plan, and that means that we want to make sure people have the marketing information, that if they have a question about donations, always welcome, that they know how to make that happen, and I just have to oversee all of that to make sure it runs smoothly.
You're the captain of the ship.
Yes. Yeah, I
am. Smooth sailing.
Yes.
It sounds like you're good at it. So
I love it. I love it. And this kind of conversation makes me so happy, because nothing I want to talk about more.
Well, you know, not everybody wants to be the director. They might want to play, but they don't really want to do that job. But you do both, which is really...
I get to do both.
Yeah, it's really good. Because it's hard to find that right person.
Yeah, for sure.
Have you ever thought about working somewhere else?
At this point, I am too happy here. I just, you know, you keep your life on the present, and so for now, this is...
And you have kids.
I have kids. I have 2 boys, Jacob and Eli.
And they go to school at Preble.
They're at Preble. Yeah.
And one of them plays...
So Jacob is a junior at Preble, and his passion, well, he's got many, but I would say one of the bigger ones is music, and he does composition, he plays violin and viola, he picked up cello, saxophone, trumpet,
wow.
He's dabbled on piano, he sings with his show choir group, so
it's almost like someone speaking 10 languages, but they speak through music.
Yeah, so he really enjoys his time at Preble. He's a great student, enjoying that senior year, challenging classes, a lot of APs, and just keeping up. He's talking about rejoining track for the spring. And then Eli is soon to be 15. His birthday's coming up. He's a soccer guy. He's an interest in computers and technology. He's taking computer science and Chinese and really good at
Chinese. I
math.
love that. Yeah.
I mean, just
not an instrument though.
Well, I've got a double bass for him.
Okay.
And he does pick it up, and I would say he seems to enjoy it, but maybe he's humoring me more than he enjoys it. But he does play, and he is good. So
that's great.
Yeah.
Do they like what you do?
Yeah, I think so. They seem to be interested, and they're very knowledgeable, and they come to all the concerts.
Oh, I was going to just ask you, do they come to your concerts?
They do, they do.
My mom.
They're very supportive. They even help, like, volunteering. They move chairs. Everywhere we go,
wow.
It's a new venue, so it's like all hands-on.
Good for you. Not many of that age group you can get
They're
motivated
so
in
good.
that.
They're so good.
That's great.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you'd like to tell us about yourself or the whole thing? This is your opportunity to get people to get involved.
Well,
I love that you.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think live music is really important, and I know that I've been telling you about this CD, and I love for people to have our CDs, but I think go out and support live music, because when you experience it, it's really very special. And with the Griffon, there's some things that they do in the community that maybe people don't know about. So I mentioned the youth lessons and their outreach, working with kids. There's another part of their program that's really dear to my heart, which is working with seniors, Alzheimer's and dementia patients, as well as caregivers. They do things like tablet concerts, iPad concerts. So people at Scandia or people who are shut in, Unity Hospice, we give them free one-on-one concerts.
I love that.
So that we know that music in the brain is really important. We want to foster young kids, you know, with their development, but we also want to work with those at other stages in their life where, again, live music just gives them something to latch onto. It's
soothing.
It is soothing, and with that, they start to meet the Griffon members. They get to know somebody. It's something they look forward to. We're told by the caregivers that it's a special day, that they look forward to it. It's a peace of mind.
Okay.
So our 3 pillars that we practice between September and May, we make sure our kids get an opportunity, that they're exposed to it. We make sure our seniors have an opportunity, that they're being well treated and thought about. And then we do community embedded concerts. So concerts that would be in a church, in a library, in a museum, but even in front of like the Piggly Wiggly, deli counter. We've even played at Al Johnson's at the Yuleborg. I mean, just places where we can let people know that music is for everyone. You don't have to dress up. It's not about a special privilege. It really is to open.
It's about this and this.
Yep,
yeah.
Open music up is for everyone.
Yeah. Well, if somebody had a caregiver job and they were interested in possibly seeking a little music for them, how would they go about that? Just contact?
Just call our office.
Okay.
Yep, and
because I think that would be something people would take advantage of up here. Yeah.
We have a lot of great grants and support to make that possible.
Yeah, that's awesome. Because my mom doesn't really like to go out that much, but she would probably love that at home.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Good, good.
Well, thanks, Allison. This has been really interesting.
Thank you.
Even talking to you beforehand and the other gals, learning a lot.
Yeah, this has been fun. Thank you so much.
Well, if you want to know more about the Midsummer's music, you need to go to their website, right?
Midsummersmusic.com.
Yep. And if you want to meet extra cool people like Allison, you need to like and subscribe at the bottom of the page, and you can join us for another episode of Door County Girl. So thanks for joining us, everybody. I'll see you next time. Bye. Thanks for watching Door County Girl. Don't forget to subscribe, and we will see you next time.